This is the magic right here. Bananas, pineapple, coconut, you can't go wrong with that, right? And we're gonna make some pastry filling frosting for this to go on top. It's light, it's fluffy, it's delicious. And we're gonna put a little bit of that pineapple and a little bit of that coconut into it as well. It's gonna be to die for. Okay, and just kind of smooth out the edges. And you are ready to go. Like what I said, 325 till the tester comes out clean. It's usually around 40-45 minutes depending on your oven. I'm gonna show you how to make the frosting, so we'll be right back in a little bit. All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out with us. The cake is still baking in the oven. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the frosting. Okay, so this is my creamy pastry filling with just a little bit of a twist on it. For this filling, it's super easy and it doesn't take any time at all to make it. So first off, you're gonna start with 1.5 cups of vegetable shortening. So I use Crisco, but you can definitely use whatever brand that you like. Okay, I always have Crisco on hand, so that's what I use. But feel free to use whatever vegetable shortening that you have in your pantry or available in your stores, wherever you're at. Okay, so 1.5 cups is gonna go right in my stand mixer. And again, I have the pedal attachment affixed to the mixer here, just because that makes a really good attachment for the frosting. Some people use a whisk, the whisk attachment, but I like the paddle attachment for this. I'm able to get I have a little bit more control over the frosting that way. So 1.5 cups of the vegetable shortening. And then with my pineapple, my crushed pineapple, I just drained off about 1/8 of a cup or so of juice. Okay, so this is a 1/4 cup measuring cup, and I filled it about half full. So that's gonna go right in there. And if you have a few little pieces of pineapple pulp or whatever, that's fine. If it goes in there, it's just gonna kind of add to the flavor. And then I have some dried lemon peel. Now you can use lemon zest if you'd like, but I'm just going to do like a generous pinch of the lemon peel, and that's gonna go in there as well. So this recipe is slightly different than the pastry cream filling that I've done before and that's in my cookbook. And so this is just gonna add that nice light citrusy feel to the cake to kind of add to that Caribbean feel. So it's gonna be delicious. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I got a little bit of vegetable shortening on my paddle that I wanna scrape down to make sure that it gets in the mixer. Perfect. I'm gonna raise that up and just start the process going. Now what this is gonna do, this is just gonna cream together. I'm gonna let this cream together and take lots of time. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in a teaspoon of the vanilla. So it's been sitting for a little bit, so I wanna give it a shake, because you can see all those little the vanilla beans, you can see it in there, but then they have all the little tiny pieces that are just, you want that in there. It's like gold. Okay, so we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of the vanilla, and that's gonna go in there. And I keep it on low. I can smell that pineapple juice, it smells so good. Now if you don't have any more juice from the pineapple, or if you're using like a canned crushed pineapple for this recipe, you can do that. I just had a pineapple that was ripe enough that I needed to cut up, so I used that. But feel free to use crushed pineapple or sliced pineapple if you have it in a can in your pantry. Just kind of mash it up. And if you don't feel that you have enough juice, add a little bit of lemon juice to it, okay? And then that just extracts the more juice from the pineapple itself and creates more of a pineapple juice for you. So just a little bit of lemon juice. The acid will just pull that right away and you'll be good to go. All right, so this is mixing up good. And I'm just gonna whip it on high for about 2 minutes. And then when I come back, we're gonna reduce the speed and we're gonna start adding our 2 pounds of confectionery sugar. Okay, that's been mixing for a couple of minutes. I just reduced it down on the lowest speed. You want the very lowest speed your mixer will go. And what I'm gonna do, this bowl is a little small for 2 pounds, but I sifted the confectionery sugar ahead of time because I have a huge 50-pound bag of confectionery sugar that, well, I usually buy 50 pounds at a time. So if it stays in that bag, or I put it into white 5-gallon buckets when I store it, and it gets a little lumpy if it sits. So sometimes it doesn't sift right out immediately. So what I do is I just sift it, and then that way I know that all the lumps are out. and it's much easier for mixing. And especially when I'm doing cake decorating, I need it smooth for sure. So I just put in a spoonful at a time. Now this is gonna get pretty thick, all right? So we're gonna water this down a little bit more after we add all of the confectionery sugar to it. So don't worry that it's gonna be super, super thick, because we are also, don't forget, we're gonna add some pineapple, and that is going to make it, you know, thinner because of the water that's in the pineapple. So don't be alarmed that it's too thick. Now, if you want to omit the pineapple chunks, if you're just not a pineapple chunk fan, then that's fine. Just use either the pineapple juice or use a little bit of orange juice, okay? That will keep that citrusy feel of the frosting if you want to make a smooth frosting, okay? So I'm going to keep adding, I'm going to keep mixing, and when we come back, you're going to see the finished result. We're going to add a little bit of liquid, a little more pineapple juice to this because I do have enough. And then you're going to see the finished product of the filling, and then we'll put everything together with the cake and the frosting. So don't go away. Okay, we're back, everybody. Now this frosting is super, super thick. Okay, so don't worry about it at all. It's all kind of, it's complete dough. All right, but we're gonna add some water to it, all right? And what I mean by water is we're gonna add some pineapple to it. Now I'm gonna throw in a full half cup of pineapple. Now I'm gonna do juice and all. I'm just kind of dishing this right into my half cup measuring, my measuring cup here. And so it's got quite a bit of juice in it. It's got the delicious pineapple. I'm gonna pack that in. And then that is gonna go right into my mixture. Now that is going to really solidify a lot. The pineapple's gonna mix up because we're gonna beat this, okay? So if it's chunky, don't worry about it at all, okay? So we're gonna let that mix in, and it's going to have a nice consistency to it. As far as at first, it's gonna look like a little bit like cottage cheese. It's gonna kind of break apart a little bit, but then as you beat it and as you let that air get completely enveloped in it, it's gonna turn nice and creamy, and it's gonna have these little bits of pineapple in it that's gonna be delicious. We're gonna add some coconut to it, but we're gonna hang on for just a minute. We're gonna mix this on high, the highest speed you can, for at least 5 minutes. All right, so you really wanna mix this well, folks. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna just beat, 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 okay? And then we'll be right back, and you're gonna see the finishing touches, and we're gonna fold in the coconut, and the smell is amazing. You're just gonna love it. All right, everybody, we're back. This has been beating for a good 5 minutes. I cleaned up my dishes and stuff and just let it whip and whip and whip. So that's a good time to just kind of clean up and just let it do its thing, just leave it. And the more air that gets into it, the better. So I'm going to take this apart so you can see what it looks like. Now, you wouldn't have thought that it would have gotten this creamy by how thick it was earlier by just adding a half a cup of the crushed pineapple, okay? So that is just so light and fluffy and creamy, and the smell is amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean off the little paddle attachment, whatever it's called, and then we're gonna add the coconut. Now I've got little pieces of pineapple that were kind of stuck to my little paddle attachment here, which is totally fine because we are going to hand mix the coconut in, and these little pieces are just gonna kind of get stirred in there. So I stopped about after a couple minutes in, and I scraped down my bowl just so that it was all completely incorporated really well. And so everything was just nice, light, and fluffy. I'm gonna give this a quick stir beforehand just to make sure that all of my ingredients are nice and incorporated and creamed up, and I don't need to, the bottom of my bowl looks good. Everything has come off the bottom of the bowl. With it being so thick beforehand, there was a little bit of Crisco at the bottom of the bowl, and so I just gave that a good scrape, and it came right up really well. So you can see it, it's nice and it's fluffy, and like I said, the smell is so great. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a generous half cup again of our coconut, our shredded coconut flakes, and this is sweetened, okay? You can use unsweetened if you want to. Like I said, it's a personal preference. I just buy it in a bag like that, and I always get the sweetened because I use it for so much, you know, that I don't buy unsweetened and sweetened. I guess I could buy unsweetened and then sweeten it, but I don't know, I just like the sweetened better. It just goes with everything that I make. So I'm gonna give that a quick stir by hand because I don't want the coconut to break down too much on this. I want it to just, I want to be able to see those little pieces of the coconut flakes that are in there. Okay, so I have stirred that. My cake is almost ready to come out of the oven. We're gonna cool it and then we're gonna frost it and slice into it, and you are gonna be so excited when you see the results. Hey everybody, welcome back. The cake is out of the oven. I just inverted it onto this little serving tray here. Let it cool down so it's completely cooled. Doesn't it look beautiful? Now the bundt cake took just, it was about an hour that it took at the 325. So if you do regular cake pans that are only 2 inches high, those are gonna cook faster, so those will be probably at the 45-minute mark. This took a little bit longer. It was just an hour, or just a hair over an hour, and it just came out perfectly. I just kept testing it after the 45-minute mark with a knife until it came out nice and clean, okay? So, and I could tell the edges pulled away from the sides just a little bit, and it's just perfect. It smells delicious. Now I have gone ahead and I have gotten my filling right here. So I am just going to frost this, and it's nice and light and fluffy. Now I don't really pay like really close attention and get this super smooth because it's got the little crushed pineapples in it from whipping it so much. So you don't really have to be too careful with getting it nice and smooth. But be generous with it, especially if you use these bundt cakes, because you need a lot of filling on these, okay? Lots and lots, because it's so good. And I can't get enough of this for sure. Now again, folks, you can alter this recipe to whatever you want for your, if you don't like coconut, you can omit that. But with this Caribbean beach cake, the coconut and the pineapple are the key ingredients. Almost like a pina colada, so to speak. Yeah, and you got a little hint of the banana in there. The cake is gonna have a little bit of that banana flavor as well. And that banana and that pineapple helps create such a moist cake. It's phenomenal. All right, so there's many different recipes out there. And like I said, this one is one of my own. I've made it up, and I've just taken a few of the other recipes that I've enjoyed over the years, and I've kind of combined them together into making this nice light and just summery cake. If you're tired of the winter like I am, I'm already tired of it, okay? And it's only January, but I think it's being cooped up in the house maybe. It definitely will it just gives you that summer feeling of, I want to be at the beach. I want to be in the sun. Now, to finish this cake off, you can see all the little pieces of pineapple in it, and it does have the coconut in it too, but for the garnish, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more coconut, and I'm just going to move this kind of out of the way. I'm just gonna hold my hand up away from it and just sprinkle it. Now you're gonna get it on your counter too, but you can wipe that up later. Just kind of go way up high with your hand and just lightly sprinkle it. People are gonna think this is a coconut cake, but when they cut into it, they're gonna think twice. Okay, folks, there it is. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I wanna cut into it so you can see it. You can see the finished product, and you see all the little pieces of the cake in there. I've got my granddaughter here and I've got my great niece here, and they can't wait to dive into this. They're in the other room playing. They're like, we'll come out and taste it when it's ready. They're in there playing Littlest Pet Shop, so. There it is, right there, folks. So you've got the coconut in there, you've got the pineapple pieces. It's just delicious. You're gonna love it. So give it a try. Don't forget, like and share and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can. I'm gonna put a link to the cookbook. Jump online, order that. There's tons of great baking recipes in that. You won't wanna miss that. And don't forget, whatever you do, you make it with love. We'll see you next time, everybody.